like the first beam of sun shining through my window. That cool morning breeze on my skin letting me know from where I've been, I'm living again. And I promise I won't let go. I hear you in the kitchen, rinsing dishes, singing in hymns. Got me in my feelings, all I know to do is give in.
Yeah, let's just fire away.
But if you want, I mean, even if you want to talk about that, you want to talk about your property, you want to talk about what you do out there, maybe how being out there influences your music.
Sure.
And what I've noticed and I was planning on asking you about that, is it seems like to me your music has taken a slightly different turn.
Yeah,
since
sobriety will do
the
that.
beginning.
Yeah.
And
When you quit drinking, it changes your art.
yeah, and I'm sure it changes a lot positively.
Yeah, but like
in
definitely your art is like, if you're an artist, the first thing that's affected with your sobriety is your artwork. You know?
Do you find that is better, or
I think it's a different window. It's like having two windows in the house, one that looks out the front and one that looks out the back. Like they're both great views, but like, you know, what are you trying to see? And at what time are you trying to see it? So like if I want to experience the sunrise, I have to stand at the back of my house and look out the back window. But if I go to the front, the sun's not shining. So that's kind of how like sobriety with art is. For me, I didn't feel like it was either better or worse. I just felt like it was a different view. And it just depends on like, you know, I couldn't really do party songs when I was sober. So like, you know, if you're doing sober songs and you're trying to stay away from singing about the lifestyle that you're trying to get away from, you know, like it's less party music almost, you know?
well, I think also over your career, since it's been as long as it has, you've matured as a person.
Yeah.
And you've matured as an artist. So anyone that has a career that lasts that long
has evolution.
Yes.
Like, and it's going to be seen.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, the latest video I watched, I really enjoyed that.
I'm curious which one. Something About Love?
Yes.
Okay.
I really enjoyed the song. I enjoyed your outfit. I really liked the shirt you were wearing.
Yeah.
In the video. I enjoyed
our relationship.
Yeah. And
that was a very intimate song. That's a song from, you know, that wasn't necessarily for the fans. That was a song for my wife. So, and me being able to share that record with my fans was what you got to see.
Well, I enjoyed the filmography. That's probably not the proper
videography.
Term. Videography. For the video, it seemed a little more professional, and it also seemed a little more direct. Like, this is what we're going to be doing, not just kind of, hey, let's turn some cameras on and
see what happens.
Right,
yeah.
You know,
all of our music videos are very well thought out and written out. You know, the storyboard, I've always been like big into the visual content that comes along with my music for a long time, all the way back to whenever I was having to film my own music videos. And or having a friend, teaching a friend, hey, hold the camera. That way it's not on like, you know, a tripod, and it has some motion. I'm like, just hold the camera. And I'm like, you always see where they do this. I was like, that's how I want you to think. Never cut my head out and never go above me. Keep me like this.
Yeah.
And like, once you teach somebody that understands that, like now they're a videographer. All you got to do is just push record. Now follow me. So that's basically what I did with a buddy of mine. Is I was like, hey, I can't film me, so you film me, but you follow me and move with me and keep me in the frame. And then I'd take that footage and sit down and I would do the editing and put it all together. So visuals has always been like a huge thing for me, because I know that that's how you actually push especially in the music, like, music videos, that's how you push the record.
Well, I agree with you completely on that. And as a consumer, if I can go to YouTube and I can find multiple videos for all, multiple songs, obviously, but I can see through the evolution of your career how things have changed.
yeah.
And it makes me appreciate the newer music more because I can see my mind works in pictures just like most people. So when I hear a song, I kind of got my own video rolling in my head of what if I was a producer,
Yeah.
the
What it
way
would
I
look like.
would, right.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But if I can sit down and watch your version
You
of
see my
your
visual.
music,
Yeah.
I can remember your face. And when I hear that song, your video's playing in my mind.
I like that.
And it stays on my mind a lot more if I can go to YouTube, Instagram, Facebook and see shorts of your videos. Or I see your face on your social media quite a bit. So it kind of sticks in my head better than someone who may have 6, 7 albums out, but they only make maybe one video,
Yeah.
2
Yeah.
for an album.
Content's king.
And
You got to have that content out there, and people are visual learners and receptive to visual more, even more so. Well, the audio comes with it. So like, the visual is going to do more impact on your brain. I believe that. And then my brand manager, of course, she's the one that makes sure that my face is everywhere. So,
wow, I mean, it's a plus. And for me, when you agreed to do this interview and I went out there looking for content, the content's there.
yeah.
I mean, on your website, there are a lot of different tabs to go through. And just going through those tabs,
It's rabbit holes.
I feel like I get to know you a little bit better as a person, not only as an artist, because you do promote your art, but I see you promote your book, you promote diet, you promote what you do outside of music equally as much as the music itself.
I am the brand.
You are.
My life is the art.
Right.
That is what it's been for a long time.
And the music, at this point, I think the music probably promotes itself.
Yeah. Well, it's the soundtrack for the lifestyle, which is why it evolves with me. So like, it kind of has a brand, a thing of its own, you know, and the fans. And, I've dealt with the growth of technology and the birth of the algorithm and how it now controls, it gatekeeps, who gets to hear what. So like, that's a whole other world of this industry, is like getting exposure. So you create these records, you shoot these videos, you've made this investment of your time and your money into this artwork. Now, how are you going to get that out there? So, automatically you think the DSPs, Spotify, Apple Music, whatever, Pandora, all these, digital streaming platforms. And then you think YouTube, you got to get something on YouTube, whether it's a placeholder with the audio or if it's a music video or a lyric video. So there's all these things that you have to create. It's not just a record anymore. It used to be like you recorded a song, you put it on CD, and you sold the CD. Maybe you shot a music video, and then you put it on YouTube and used it as promotion. Now with the TikTok and Instagram and the reels and the shorts and all this, you have to create numerous amounts of content around this one record. So now it takes so much, there's so much expectation. Because if you're on TikTok and you follow me and I've got a new record coming out, you expect to see a short promoting that record. If you're on Instagram, you expect to see a reel. If you're on Facebook, a story. If you're on YouTube, a short, whatever you expect to see something from me on every platform, music video, every DSP coverage. So like now the work for the artist just to get heard is like through the roof on like what you have to, the content creation, you know, you have to feed all of these platforms now. And it's kind of sucks because you do all the work and then it's not even up to you on who gets to see it. Even if you're a follower of mine on all of those pages, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get to see it because the algorithm will control what you see. There's people that are fans of mine that have gone looking for my music just recently, and they're like, I can't find the songs. And to me, it's two things. I'm like, okay, I'm being gatekept like no other, or these people are just that stupid. And I'd love to think that these people aren't that stupid. But there's only two options. They're either that dumb that they don't know how to find my music because I can't make it more available than what I do. It's on everything. So when somebody's like, you know, and I get this all the time, they're like, man, I'm a huge fan. And I'm like, first question I always ask, awesome. Thank you. What's the last song of mine that you heard? Like, what's the newest record of mine that you heard? And they're like, Working. And I'm like, that's from 2012, you know, and we're 2025. And they're like, well, that's the last thing I heard from you. And I'm like, you haven't heard the 9 albums I've done since then?
Right.
You know, like what have I not done to like, where's the disconnect? And I've tracked it down to like, I think I made a mistake when I changed my name from Big SMO to SMO, just because of the digital imprint that the name Big SMO has behind it. With the TV show, with the Warner Brothers record deal, with everything that I've done for a long time, for 15 plus years, to then go from Big SMO to SMO, I think I lost a lot of people just in that's where that disconnect, I think, happened digitally.
Well, I find that interesting because the label for my notes is Big SMO. And that's how I was introduced to you. And when I started searching, everything I searched, everywhere I searched, that's how I typed it in.
Was Big SMO.
Now, some of the things that came up, as you know, would not come up Big SMO.
Yeah, it's just SMO.
But because in my mind, that's how I labeled you and that's how I was introduced to you.
Yeah.
That's how it's going to stick with me.
Yep.
And I'm going to.
And with a lot of people, especially with consumers who have already invested. So like you think about your already existing fan base that has bought into the Big SMO brand. They've put it on their trucks. They've got it hanging on their wall. It's in their refrigerator. Like they've accepted it. And then all of a sudden I'm like, I'm going to drop the big, you know, and it's almost like I lost some people with that. And it was the funny thing is that it was done by the fans really when I started to change my lifestyle. And they were like, well, we can't call you Big SMO no more. We're going to call you Little SMO. We're going to call you Medium Size SMO. Would the real Slim SMO please stand up? All of this like unreal, just witty banter about my weight because I was losing weight. And I was like, look, we'll just drop the big and go back to SMO. That's what I was originally. My nickname was SMO when I was 12. So Big SMO only came into play whenever I became a rapper and needed to put a name on a product. And I was like, this was 2000. I'm like, I can't just be SMO, you know, I got to be like Big SMO, you know, I can't be little this. So I was like, man, I'll throw big on it. Big SMO, done. Cause I never thought that I would not be an overweight person. Never in a million years did I think that I would lose 225 pounds. So I signed up to be the fat guy for life, really, for the career, for the long haul. And then, 15 years later into the career, when I have open heart surgery and they're like, hey man, you can't live like this and survive. And I was like, well, I don't want to die. So maybe I should lose weight. And you drop 100 pounds. And they're like, well, we can't call you Big SMO no more. Little SMO. I'm like, yo, I'm still 300 pounds. Like, I'm not little anything. I'm just not about to die of cardiac arrest. And then when I went plant-based, because 300 still didn't make me happy, and I got down to 200, then it was, whoa, you're sick or you're on meth. And then when I dropped gluten and oil and dropped another 30 pounds, it really turned people on their head. They were like, oh, he's smoking crack. He's snorting methamphetamines. I'm like, yo, I ain't even never seen meth. I don't know what it looks like, but that's not what I'm doing. Like, I'm trying to get rid of all of this fat that I've been carrying around my whole life. And I finally figured out how to do it. And then when I cut my weight down to I got down to 169. And then I started, I was exercising a lot. So I was losing weight, but I was my muscles were, all you could see was muscle. The fat was gone. It was I had a six pack for the first time in my life. I'm doing 30 pull-ups in a morning workout session, 3 sets of 10 pull-ups. I had never done a pull-up my entire life. So here I am finding the superhuman version of me in my own time, but in the same breath, people are downing me because I'm skinny. So it was a weird transition from going from big to regular SMO. And I in so many ways with the name, professionally, personally, publicly, cause now I can't go anywhere, grocery store, anything. I get stopped everywhere I go. How'd you lose all that weight? I'm like, well, just real quick, look in my grocery cart and now look in yours. Ta-da. That's how it was done. I didn't have a weight loss surgery. I haven't ever taken a weight loss drug. I just realized I live a terrible lifestyle and it's surrounded by all of my own poor choices. And that if I want to survive, I'm going to have to really find some self-discipline and make some changes. And in doing so, great rewards with my health, terrible choice with my professional name change.
Well, I think you made a healthy choice, obviously, as you know. So not your health changed, your lifestyle changed, so your art had to change because out of all that, maybe your mental approach to certain things, writing, art, life in general, probably changed as well.
Everything changed.
And
things I didn't expect to change changed. Things I didn't sign up to change changed.
Well, it all changed for the better, right?
Yeah, for me personally, but for me professionally, not so much. When I quit drinking, I'd say I lost a lot of fans because my brand was built on moonshine and whiskey. So all of a sudden, now the guy that comes out and drinks a half gallon of whiskey during his show is not drinking a half gallon of whiskey. Well, that puts people in the shock. They're like, whoa, what's going on? SMO, let me buy you a drink. I'm like, no thanks. I can't drink. They're like, oh, boo.
Well,
and I'm like, well, I open my shirt. I'm like, well, do you see this 13-inch scar? That's a sign that says no alcohol allowed. Sorry. But it was from drinking since I was 12, or earlier, and eating like crap my whole life that led to this. So I'm trying to, and they're like, oh. I'm like, well, I didn't just quit drinking for no reason, so I think, I lost a lot of people with that. And then I lost a lot of people with, when I went plant-based, because then all of a sudden, if you don't eat meat, you're not a man.
And I don't get that. I don't understand how someone can go through changes in their life. And if you call yourself a fan or a friend, you can walk away from that person because maybe you don't agree or you don't understand the choices they've
Yeah.
made. You walked away from eating meat.
Mhm.
I bet you heal faster.
Oh,
I
man.
bet you are less sore in the
Every
morning.
reward that could be had, I have.
Yeah.
And I can't preach it to people without being shunned. I'm like, yo, because, my fans talk to me. They're like, oh, man, life's hard. Life's rough. I'm like, yeah, you keep making bad choices. That's why. And they're talking to me. They got a beer in their hand. They're eating a hamburger or a Twinkie or something, smoking a cigarette. I'm just like, I'm looking at them and I'm like, I'll just circle you and say, this is your problem. Like everything that you're doing right now is what's your problem. You're just making poor choices. And that's why you feel bad. So, like, I don't know. I've kind of found like this secret to the quality of life. And I try to share it with people the best I can. Some people get it and some people aren't ready for it. So, and you got to just respect people's timeline. I wasn't ready to hear it. My life had to change until my heart had to come out of my chest. So prior to that, you couldn't tell me nothing.
Well, do you feel now that you've had to make that choice and you've made that choice? And you spoke earlier about groceries. When you go shopping and you pick those groceries up, how's how's that make you feel to look at your cart now compared to looking at your cart? I mean, is it easier for you to put those groceries in there and pass
Oh yeah.
all the other
I can't
stuff that
even I can't even walk like the seafood. I avoid walking because I literally just walk into a grocery store and go into the produce. Everything that I need's right there. So I don't have to go down too many aisles. There's like a few items. Like we got to go to the back to get, if we're in Kroger, if you're in Walmart, you don't even have to because the tofu's right there. But like if you're in Kroger, you got to go back to the back to get tofu or tempeh. Maybe down the water aisle to get some coconut water. But like I haven't gone down every aisle in a grocery store in a long time, like probably 4 years. And that was only because in my first year of going plant-based, I was going down every aisle and picking up everything and turning around reading it. And I'm like furious that I can't have this anymore. I'm just like, why? And she had to put up with everything. I'm like, why? Why? Top of my voice, middle of our local Walmart. And she's like, shut up. And I'm like, it doesn't make any sense. Why is there cheese in this seasoning? And it's like my favorite seasoning. I can't have it anymore because it's got cheese in it. So then I was like, well, what's the workaround? Like, all it's got is cheese in it. So you read the ingredients and you're like, okay, it's got smoked paprika, pepper, basil, all these things. Like, oh, I can get all that and just leave the cheese out.
Yeah.
So you just buy all those spices, mix them together. And then I was like, solution. Here we go. So like now the things that I want that's got stuff in it that I can't have, read the ingredients, find out what's in it that really makes me want it, and then make my own. So we went into this whole, like, when we first went plant-based, we had to crutch a lot on the processed plant-based food, like the Impossible meat.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to cold turkey.
Yeah.
Like you cold turkey hamburgers, like that's a task. But you don't have to. They got Impossible and this, a couple other different kinds. And we ate those for a while to get that psychological breakaway.
Yeah.
But after a while, we realized that that's just crap too. And we're not eating healthier. We're just eating different. So you can get vegan fat because French fries are vegan. Oreos are vegan. Like there's a lot of stuff that's vegan, but it doesn't mean it's good for you. So she dialed us in on like, she's like, whoa, we want to stop eating gluten. We want to stop eating oil. And I was like, what? Like I've already quit eating every animal, cheese, milk, eggs, like everything that I know. Now you want to take away bread and oil? Why? And it's like, well, those things cause inflammation. And you're dealing with hip pain, knee pain, back pain, of getting older, pain.
Right.
I'm like, ugh, you're right. But why are you always right? It's because she's a woman. You just have to learn that. So I was like, fine, I've quit everything else. Like, we'll just quit, and I quit caffeine and quit. Like that was caffeine. So imagine like quitting all these things and people are like, man, what do you have left? And it's like at that time, I thought the same thing. Like, you're taking all of this away from me. What am I going to have left? But like, once you take that away and you look at what's left, there's plenty that's left. There's like plenty. I eat so much variety of stuff. And it's like, I've learned to cook for myself in a way that I never had before. And it's just every time it's just a win, 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 because I know what I can't have. So this is what I do psychologically. And I had to create this for myself because I know what kind of person I am. I work off of a good and evil chart. So there's things that are good that I'll do, and there's things that are evil that I won't do, right? So, for instance, apples, where do they go? They're on the good side. Heroin, where's heroin go? Heroin's on the bad side. So you just figure out where things belong and you put it there. And when something goes on the bad side, you don't mess with it. Whether you already have or you haven't, or you do and you learn it doesn't work out for you, you slide it over to the bad side. And when you try something and you don't have side effects from it, or, a strange reaction, like if you sustain from it, then put it on the good side. And that's just how I've been working for a long time. And, there's a lot of stuff on the bad side. There is 3 handfuls of stuff on the bad side, but the good side is like, it's abundant. It's overflowing. So like, I don't even see it like that anymore because I've experienced the change and I know the reality. And a lot of people say it's expensive to eat healthy, but it's not. It's not expensive to eat healthy. It's expensive to be sick. It's expensive to go to the doctor. Medication is expensive. I don't take medicine. I've been medicine free for over 4 years. And I've had heart surgery, so I should be on multiple medicines for the rest of my life, they told me. Not a one. So is it more expensive to eat healthy? No, it might take a lot more time and preparation, but I also don't have to drive to a restaurant and sit in the drive-thru. So time I got. I don't have to sit at a restaurant and wait for someone to make my food for me. And that's something else that I learned in this journey is like, I had been cutting out the most important relationship in my life. Aside from the relationship I have with my wife, I had been cutting out my relationship with my food. And if you think about it, the food that you eat, the things that you consume, that's the most intimate relationship that you have. So I'm ignoring the most intimate relationship that I have every single day. I don't even have control over it. I have to. It's not like I choose to. I have to eat. So but I'm choosing to not be involved in that relationship and that preparation and that selection. I'm allowing someone else, I'm putting a lot of faith in the Chick-fil-A and McDonald's. And, I'm putting a lot of faith into these places to make sure that I'm getting the things that I need to make sure that I'm healthy and quality of life. And it's not there. You won't find it there because you don't know what you're eating. They might give you a picture and tell you what you're eating, and you may believe it, but that's on you. Truth is that you're not eating chicken. It's something else and they just show you a picture and say that's chicken. So like, I know that my palate, my taste buds had been hijacked for many years, and they're not anymore. And that's a freedom that most people don't have. And I know the facts about healthy living and the value and the cost and all that. I've lived it for 5 years now, you know, and I hear a lot of people throwing shade at it, or they've got, you know, their idea. A lot of people, what is it, the carnivore diet, you know, like, oh, I'm going to do the carnivore diet. And I'm like, that's the biggest load of crap I've ever heard. Like, carnivores don't cook their meat. They eat it raw. They don't buy it. They kill it with their teeth and their bare hands. They don't shoe it even. So like this whole, like, I eat like a carnivore, that's pipe dreams. Like, you just have a real unhealthy saturated fat diet. And it may work out for you for a short period of time, but do it for 5 years and come back and holler at me. Like, that's the kind of conversations that I get to have now with people in these lifestyles that, you know, they pass around. And mine goes back biblical. And I'm not no Bible thumper or anything. I just know that my wife educates me on this. And like, plant-based eating goes back to the Bible. And I can't remember who it was. Doesn't matter, but it's in there. So yeah, like, I believe in what I do so much that I built a restaurant around it, a food trailer. And now we take this lifestyle that helps save our lives, and we push that to our community through our food trailer.
Hey, I know this is a great conversation right now, but I wanted to hop in real quick and introduce myself. My name's Harkos. I edit every episode here on Two Beers with the Band, but aside from that, I also have my own podcast called Music Making Sense Podcast, where it's all about music marketing, branding, and how to have success. Real success as an independent artist. If you're an independent artist who's trying to grow a real and sustainable fan base, then after you're done watching this great interview, you should come and check out my podcast. Every week I drop videos diving into tips and tricks that independent artists can use to overcome all of the obstacles and hurdles in this music industry that they have and start having real success. So if you're an independent artist, or you happen to know an independent artist who could use some help growing a real fan base, come on and check out Music Making Sense Podcast, available on all platforms. Links are available at musicmakingsensepod.com. I'll see you there. Now, let's get back to this great interview.
Well, if you look at the teeth in your head and you look at the way they're shaped, you have teeth that are meant to grind more than teeth that are meant to cut.
Right.
So if you look at the way your mouth is designed, your mouth is designed more for non-meat type food, plants, basically. And
yeah, herbivore.
Right.
Yeah, what I mean, that's,
you're supposed to eat more plant product than you are meat product. In my opinion, the only reason we do eat meat, period, was to get a certain style of protein that we couldn't get based on, well, let's take it back to the caveman days. So cavemen moved around a lot. So they would have, but they were chasing protein. Well, they may not be able to get that protein every day or every week, but they would get it every now and then. Well, they had to sustain themselves on water and plant products to get them through. And they were able to do that, obviously, because here we're sitting now. But because meat tastes so good, because we've grown up on it.
yeah, it's fat.
Right.
Your body loves it.
Right. and we've told ourselves, oh, I need to have bacon for breakfast. I need to have, lunch meat for lunch. And then I need to have some sort of steak or something like that for
Meat at
dinner.
every meal.
Right, right. And I've noticed with myself over the years, as I've gotten older, when I was young, man, I could eat whatever and it didn't matter. I would just work it off. But as I've gotten older, I've noticed, I do enjoy some of these salads I get, some of these pre-made, or I go into the Publix and I make it myself right there at the salad bar. And I've noticed the more salad I eat, the more richly colored vegetables I eat, the better I feel.
Mm-hmm.
Now, at the same time, I do enjoy a good steak. I'll throw a steak on the grill. Sausages, brats, boil them in beer, throw them on the grill. Something. I enjoy the art of grilling more than the actual food.
Definitely the aftermath.
And yeah.
Yeah.
And
because even eating is good. Like I love bratwurst. That was my thing. And steak. I love to grill. But I no longer have to do that. That's a whole other thing that like I thought I loved grilling. And I realized that I didn't even love grilling.
It was for me, it's the social aspect of grilling because there's usually a few people around.
People standing around. Yeah, see, I didn't even have that.
And I mean, for me, I enjoy
burning something.
Well, not so much anymore because it gets a little pricey when you buy a couple of nice steaks, burn them both, and then go without dinner. That just makes for a rough night. But that's how I taught myself how to grill is, all right, this is what I bought. This is all I have for dinner, so don't mess it up.
Right.
Because if I mess it up, I either go hungry or I got to eat it. So learn what you're doing.
Yeah, steaks aren't cheap now.
No. And that's...
Lettuce is pretty cheap still.
Yeah, and, if people, I'll go buy these pre-made salads.
Now, see, this is where they get you.
And they are they've gotten a little more expensive.
Yeah. And they're full of crap.
Yeah, there is a lot of stuff
in there. You can't get a pre-made salad that doesn't have cheese, egg, meat, or oil, or milk most of the time.
Actually, the ones I get have egg, have cheese, and usually
usually
have turkey.
Look, for a vegan, I can't even go get a pre-made salad because it's always got that crap in it. I can't get a dressing off the shelf. I got to make my dressing from scratch. Everything's got oil in it. Everything.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, it has to. Otherwise, how's it?
But it doesn't. I have 3 different kinds of dressing that I make at home, sell on my food truck. Doesn't have any oil in it. Doesn't have to. We just think it does. That's like thinking that you got to have oil to saute vegetables. Most people would think you have to, but you don't. You just use water.
How does that work?
Same way as oil. Why would you use oil on vegetables? So that you can saute them, not stick to the pan?
Yeah. Because
most of us would be like, if I'm going to saute vegetables, let me put oil in the pan. How much oil?
Just enough to where it won't stick, but I don't have to sit there and constantly move it because it'll burn if you put too much in there and let the oil get too hot.
So oil, and a lot of people, let me just break it down like this. Let's say we're having zucchini. Zucchini has 6 calories in one zucchini. So if we're trying to eat healthy, you look at a zucchini, it's super healthy. Carrot, throw a carrot in there too. Onion, put onion in there. So you got these 3 vegetables. Very low calories. Probably collectively off of each one, you've got less than 25 calories for all of them together. But you take a tablespoon of oil and you put it on top of them, you just added 160 calories. Now, ain't nobody using 1 tablespoon. It's like, and nobody's even measuring. I know how it's done. You grab the oil and it's like, blip, 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 blip. And that's 3 or 4 tablespoons,
Yeah.
which is 600 to 800 calories that you're adding to the 25 calorie vegetables that were perfectly fine before you covered them in hot oil. And now you're going to eat them thinking that you're doing your body good, but you've just consumed like over 600 calories in saturated fat. You don't even know where it came from. It might say olive oil. That's a lot of faith you're putting in that company, because they don't even sell, like the oil that they sell you isn't even derived from the same natural places that they promote it from. They did a test on this really expensive avocado oil. It didn't even have any avocado in it. It was just some other refined oil as being sold as avocado oil. So, I mean, oil's a scam. Oil has been a scam for a long time. I'm pretty sure that the mafia is involved with olive oil somewhere, like legitimately. So oil's a scam. All of this gluten, if you look at everything, everything's got gluten in it. Gluten. Everything.
Yeah.
Why?
Because it's probably easier to produce.
Cheap, easy filling. Oh, yeah, they take the
germ out of the flour to get it longer shelf life.
Yeah, the germ out of the flour to give it longer shelf life. So, longer sustainability for shelf life. But look what it does to you, like in that process of removing the germ and turning that into a gluten product, the inflammation that it causes in your body is like, a lot of people don't understand why they don't feel good. Like, I don't know why fibromyalgia, there's one. That's something new that they came up with. People, they're in pain. I don't know why I'm in pain. What'd you have for lunch? Pasta. Well, stop eating gluten, see what happens. But so many people are addicted to these foods. You want to talk about addiction. I know addiction from beginning to end. And food was one of the biggest addictions I've ever had to overcome. And I see it on people every time I look at people or I have to deal with people. And we had this conversation and they talk about like the things that they like to eat and the things that they couldn't do without. You know, have you ever tried to not eat cheese?
I have not done that, but there are things in my life that I've gotten rid of, and I quit cold turkey.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad I did.
Yeah.
Now, in saying that, I'll still go back every now and then. For example, Mountain Dew. When I was in high school and college, truly addicted to Mountain Dew.
Cocaine.
Truly addicted.
Yeah. Mountain Dew
Without
and cocaine
question.
are like neck and neck, chemically, like and brain receptively.
I walked through and got my diploma, stepped off stage, shook hands of professors, chairs of the department, things like that. The chair of the department that I got my degree through laughed when he shook my hand. I said, "What's so funny? The fact that I graduated?" And I just, ha, ha, ha. He said, "No." And he looked around. He's like, "I don't see a Mountain Dew in your hand." For the last 4.5 years, every time I've seen you, you've either had a Mountain Dew in your hand or in your backpack.
Right.
He said, "This is unusual." And that kind of stuck with me. And
Yeah.
after I graduated, I noticed that I kind of had a routine of what I did during the day. I started the day with coffee. After the coffee, hour or two later, I'd drink a Mountain Dew. Maybe, and I wouldn't just chug it, just sip on it,
Sip
right?
on it, yeah.
And as the day progressed, I might get another one. And I realized one day that I drank or I bought a 20-ounce Mountain Dew, and I got down to about that much left in the bottle. And I said, "I don't want it," so I threw it away. What I do a little while later, opened up another one, same thing, nursed it down to about that much, threw it away. And I looked at it as I threw it away and I said, "Well, how much money did I just throw away?" And I said, why am I throwing away these bottles that aren't completely empty?
Mhm.
Well, am I drinking this out of habit
Mhm.
or do I really need it? Scratch, do I need it? What do I need that's in that bottle?
Yeah.
Sugar, caffeine, some kind of funny
Color,
yellow number 7 or
yeah.
whatever it is.
All the bad things.
Yeah. So I started thinking, well, I get my caffeine from my coffee. And
Yes.
usually I just need a little kick in the pants in the morning and I'm good all day.
Yeah.
So why am I drinking this Mountain Dew? That must be habit. You know what? This is an expensive habit. Let me go ahead and kick it. And I did it cold turkey. Now, you want to talk about a couple of weeks.
Struggle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But once it was over,
It's like kicking coat.
yeah, it was just, I don't need this.
Yeah. No,
And,
it's just, that's everything, bro.
oh,
That's
yeah.
everything.
Yeah,
That's
but-
everything from heroin to methamphetamines to crack to cocaine to alcohol to tobacco. It's everything. Like, it's just addiction, bro. So food is everyone's addiction. And this is why we're all sick. Is because, first of all, we were all domesticated to think that it's okay to eat the way that we eat because our parents said it was okay. And their grandparents, their parents, our grandparents, somewhere around that timeline, depending on your age, I'm 49. So my grandparents were in the middle of that convenience era where it went from killing your own chicken to being able to go and buy your own chicken. Because I remember my grandmother used to have to wring the necks of chickens and then pluck them, boil them, cook them. Then I also remember a time my grandmother going to Save-A-Lot and just buying chicken. So there was a time where everything changed and convenience is what they sold us on. And then it just got more convenient and more convenient because my parents were raised on, my parents came up in a time more of convenience, especially once they had me. It was like canned food, box food, frozen food. It wasn't kill your own hog, slaughter your own cow, any of that, kill your own chicken. All that was a wrap. So, like, I believe that the convenience of food, and again, going back to removing the relationship with food, because it used to be raise your own animal, kill your own animal, grow your own crop, cut your own crop and eat your crop. And now when they remove that from the equation, you just got a bunch of crap. And that's when they were able to just start taking over and selling us like things that we just didn't know were in our food anymore. And that's what helped create this addiction. So I asked about cheese for a reason. Have you ever stopped eating cheese, like in your lifetime?
No, I haven't, but
Have you ever wondered why?
no, I know exactly why. Number one, I'm addicted to it. Well, yeah, I'll say addicted to it. I grew up and I could just go in the kitchen, pull out the block of cheese, cut me off a chunk, eat on it, and I think what I want from the cheese is the salt content is what I'm looking for when I eat cheese, maybe subconsciously, and probably the oil as well is what I'm looking for subconsciously when I eat that cheese. But at the same time, I look at the cheese that I'm eating and I think about how cheese actually originated and what real cheese looks like and what I'm shaking out of a bag that's already been sliced.
Yeah, processed.
And dumping it in something I'm cooking, how quick it just turns into mush.
Yeah.
Where I've heard people from other countries look at that and say, that is not cheese.
Yeah.
Do not serve me that because I don't know what that is, and it's got to be nasty. You call that cheese, that's not cheese.
Man, everybody eats it.
And
Everybody's eating it.
And when I eat that cheese, it always crosses my mind that it's not cheese. But at the same time, my next thought comes along and says, we need to get dinner, lunch, whatever it is, fixed, eat, move on to the next thing I have to do. So when I take this cheese and I dump it in here, stir it around, all this stuff is meant to go together and be quick and easy for me to fix. My favorite dish, though I don't eat it, if you put me on a desert island and said, we're going to give you one dish for the rest of your life. You don't have to work. You don't have to do anything. What is it? I'm going to say pasta, cheese, and pick a protein because it doesn't matter to me.
Right.
And if I can have that morning, noon, and night and provide it for me for the remainder of my life,
You'd be straight with that.
I'll be good because
Cheesy
I love
pasta.
pasta. I love cheese and throw hamburger, chicken. I mean, I've never tried it, but throw a rat in there. Who knows? I don't know because I enjoy pasta, I enjoy cheese, and I enjoy
So
some
what makes when you say animal protein, what makes you go to animal protein versus plant protein?
Because I was raised up believing that the only way you got protein was from animal products and animals, eggs, milk, cheese, things like that. And it's not that I was brought up the same way you were. And the propaganda is the only way you can get protein is to eat meat
Like
or
the food
meat
chain.
products.
The
Right.
food chain, yeah.
Right. The
Yeah.
food pyramid.
Mhm.
I mean, the same one that you grew up on
Mhm.
is what I grew up on.
Right.
So we've been trained that the only way we get protein and can build muscles and have energy to run out here and play as kids
Just to eat that
is
stuff.
to eat the
Mhm.
animal products.
How does it make you feel knowing that you were lied to about it?
It doesn't make me feel good, but at the same time, I'm trying to adjust the way I eat.
Right.
I've noticed when I go to the store, I'll do my usual route or whatever, and I'll pass the 2-for-1, and there's always bacon in there or sausage. There's always some sort of breakfast meat that's 2-for-1. And I'm usually either on the phone or thinking about something. Because when I go to the store, I'm single, no kids. I can go
darn.
boom, 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 boom. I can be out, 2-3 bags at the most,
Mhm.
whatever. It's a quick trip for me. I don't go to the store, get a cart, and go up the aisles, and I don't do that.
You don't really shop.
No,
You just grab it.
Yeah,
grab and
yeah.
go.
Yeah, I got my little usual route and
Mhm.
I go. And of course, along my route is where you're going to find the 2-for-1s, bacon, sausage, brats, whatever the case may be. And I have found myself, as used to be, I would go in, I would see it, immediately go over to it. Then I'd start thinking about what I have at the house. Man, they got 2-for-1 bacon. I don't have anything at the house. See, the next 2 weeks, I'm kind of planning what am I going to be doing. I'm going to go ahead and get 4. That way I buy 2,
You get 2 free.
2 free, throw 2 of them in the freezer, 2 of them in the fridge,
Mhm.
and it takes me 3 breakfasts to eat a pound of bacon because I cut it in half. And I guess I'm trying to fake myself out. Say, oh, I'm eating this many pieces of bacon, whatever.
Right.
It's psychological.
Yeah.
But I ran into a coworker a while back who went from now all of his family are chefs. So they know how to cook everything. So he grew up watching these chefs cook. Well, you and I growing up, if a chef was cooking a meal, what would be in that meal? A protein of some sort. Have to be.
Yeah.
Because you and I, our parents, they're not going to sit down to a meal at a restaurant prepared by a chef if there's no protein in it.
No, that's
So,
how we were domesticated.
yeah. So he grew up watching them cook, and that's how he learned to cook and how he cooked for himself. He had, as he got a little bit older, he had some injuries as a child. They were causing him pain pretty much every day. He was having these pains. And he went to the doctor. Doctor put him on some pain medication. He took it. Of course, you develop a tolerance to it. So he developed that tolerance, went back when the pain continued, and someone along the lines told him about, why don't you get rid of meat? And they explained why. He was to the point where he's like, you know what?
I'll try anything, yeah.
So he said, you know what? For 1 month, no meat products. I can do it for a month. I can do anything for a month.
Mm-hmm.
So he started on the 1st, and by the end of the month, he noticed he was feeling better. And coming from a chef family, he knew how to prepare meals. All he did was just take the protein out. And he made himself focus on the meal without the protein. And he noticed he was feeling better.
Without the meat. There's
Yeah,
protein in
Yeah, well, yeah. I'm sorry.
No,
I'm
sorry.
there.
And that's what I was gonna say.
Italian, but that is just like really.
Yeah, and that's what I was getting to with the protein is like so many people feel like, like when protein is mentioned, that we're talking about animals.
Yeah.
And I consume a large amount of protein, yet I never kill any animal or have to eat an animal to gain that. So when I think protein, my mind now, and this is what I was saying also earlier about things change that I didn't know were going to change. Psychologically, when I hear protein, I'm thinking beans, oats, greens, like essential amino acid proteins, not saturated fat proteins. So there's a difference in proteins, and I think that, like you said, just our domestication and us thinking that protein is sourced only from animal, that's what we feel like we have to have this every meal we eat, this protein involved, this animal protein, which is completely unnecessary. That's just dealing with that addiction. Because what you've done is you've got, even if you don't want to say that you're the addict, because it's really not you. Like what are you anyway? Besides just a collective mess of cells and such. But inside of your gut, you have bugs that live in your gut. Now those are the addicts. Those are the ones that have the joysticks that go up to the brain and are connected to the sensors. So when they smell spaghetti, they think, oh, I got to have spaghetti. These guys, it's your gut bugs are your junkies that you're dealing with. And just like we were domesticated by our parents to be a certain way, we allow our gut bugs to be trained, to be domesticated on what they become addicted to. So this is why if you continue to feed these bugs these certain things, that's all they're going to want. That's what they're going to crave. This is where the food addiction comes in. It's not even psychological. It's physical, and it's in your gut, and it's bugs. And that's what makes you crave the things that you can't stop eating. It's because your bugs are addicted to pasta, cheese, animal fat. That's your gut bugs. See, my gut bugs, they don't think like that anymore. They used to, because they were domesticated similar to yours. But I've retrained mine, much like a dog that's gotten out of control. Snaps at the hand that feeds him type thing. I don't tolerate that. So my bugs, I don't allow them to dictate the quality of my life anymore, because it is my life. They just get to be a part of it.
All right.
So I train my bugs on what they want. Now, my bugs are wild. They're like a gymnasium of like little swole up, little health freak bugs in there. And they're like, yeah, we can't wait to get celery juice tomorrow. They're not thinking about coffee. They're not thinking about beer. They're not thinking about soda. Like the last thing on these guys' minds is Mountain Dew. The only green drink they're looking for is celery juice. And that's because I've trained them. Now, it took a little while for me to train them, but like eventually they took off their old uniform, put on the new uniform, and now they play for this team. But before, they weren't. They were like little junkies that lived down in the hood of my belly, and they would DoorDash crack and heroin all day long in the form of bacon, sausage, cheese, pasta, pizza, all that stuff. So you just got to know that you're not even in control of that shit. Like you're just allowing your gut bugs to radio up. They're like, is that barbecue? They're down there on a couch with their controller, just waiting. Their eyes, they're watching, they're smelling. You don't even see the barbecue. You smell it first. They're like, barbecue? We got them eyes looking. Then you find it. And you got them legs working. The gut bugs are what's in control. It ain't your brain, because let me tell you something. You ain't stupid. You're not stupid. We're not stupid. We know when we eat a donut that we're not doing a service for our body. We're not dumb. We know when we're chugging a Mountain Dew that that's not celery juice. We know when we're eating pizza that that's not salad. Like, we're not stupid. We know. That's how we're allowed to say to ourselves, maybe I should make a better choice than what I've been doing. It's because we know. We're not dumb, but we live with these junkies in our stomach that control what we put in our bodies, because they're the ones that feed off of it. It isn't even us. It's our gut bugs. So just think about that when you go in there, and your gut bugs ain't dumb either. Like, they know what 2-for-1 means. They know.
I know.
They know. So they have it's the cheat code button on the side. They're like 2-for-1, bink, and it goes straight to the brain. It's like, this is going to make sense for me to buy this. Now your gut bugs are just messing with your mind. They're like, hey, 2-for-1. You know what that means? You're going to put one in the freezer, one in the fridge. We're going to cut it in half. We're going to play mind games. Let's go. I got this, boy.
What aggravates me about that is I have a minor in nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know what I should be eating, how I should be preparing stuff. I took, as part of my minor, there were cooking courses. We would have to go into the kitchen, prepare meals. For example, one thing we would do that I really found interesting, and I want to say it was some sort of food science course, is you would get, as a group of 4 or 5, chocolate chip cookies, just kind of a basic chocolate chip cookie recipe. Okay, group 1, you get all the basic stuff from the grocery store, the butter, the brown sugar, the, dark chocolate chips, whatever. And then this group, we would get you the, let's say, the organic chocolate chips, the organic butter, whatever the case may be. Then this group over here, you get nothing but super clean, super natural, everything sitting there in front of you to prepare this cookie with is good for you. Every bit of this. There's nothing negative about what's sitting in front of you. And we're all going to use the same recipe. So we're all going to prepare these cookies the same way. And at the end, you taste each other's cookies. And what it was teaching us is, here's what you grew up on. You enjoyed that cookie. Here's a little bit healthier choice. And it doesn't taste that different. It's a little different, obviously, but it's not that much different. Then there's this choice over here. It looks different, smells different, tastes different, but it's really not that bad. It's not as bad as you would think. But given the choice of this cookie you grew up on and this super healthy cookie, what are you going to take every time without question? You're going to take this one because you're used to it and it's normal. So you're not going to get to experience what good for you is. So I started looking at things, and when I would take recipes and go to the store, it's like, this is all I'm cooking tonight. So the only thing I'm picking up today are the items on this recipe. Well, I was able to go to the store and look at the different choices. And sometimes I would pick some of the healthy stuff. And then sometimes I get the basic stuff just because that's what I was used to. And I've tried over the years to adjust my diet. And this year I have to get a physical once a year for my job. They do a blood panel. And then they come back to you with the results, good, bad, ugly, whatever. This year, when I got my blood panel, they said these certain things are whatever percent. Well, that puts it in the acceptable range. I've never had acceptable range in my life. I've always been on the good end of everything. Oh, you're fine, you're fine, you're fine.
Right.
Oh, well, this is acceptable. I was like, acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, you said my whatever is 98, and the acceptable range is from whatever to 100.
Mm-hmm. Now you're underneath
So
that.
I'm barely acceptable. When last year, y'all just called me and said, hey, your blood panels came back, you're good across the board. That's all you told me. Now this year, I have certain things that are acceptable. No. Because if they're acceptable now and I maintain the same lifestyle, next year,
It's going to be even worse.
yeah. And I know the way I think, I'm going to dwell on those things. And I'm going to start making better choices because I feel that I'm forced to at that point.
Well,
because
yeah,
I want to
if you wanna
stay
live,
in those acceptable ranges.
yeah, quality of life,
Right.
got
And
certain power to it.
You were forced, your hand was forced to make those changes. My hand's not being forced yet to make those changes, but I don't want someone to force my hand.
Right. No, you should want to do it.
For example, I'm enjoying this beer. Now, I remember a time, especially when I was in college, enjoyed beer. I don't know if I enjoyed it or I enjoyed
socially drinking.
Right, because I could put some beer away.
Right.
And would do it and have done it. But now, like the beer that I'm drinking now, I enjoy the flavor of that beer more than I enjoy what the beer does.
Right.
You know, because I'm at a point in my life where it doesn't make sense to be the way I used to be.
No, I understand.
And I don't
that
like
completely.
waking up in the morning after I've had too many of these. I don't like the way I feel.
Yeah.
When I was young, I'd just wake up and get motivated, start working. It just go away. Well, as you get older, it doesn't happen like that.
No, I don't work like that.
Why? It's time to grow up. And it's been time to grow up. And I've tried to start growing up over the last maybe 3 years.
And I think with the growing up, we have to really add our diet to that list.
And that's a huge part of it.
Like, people have to understand that we cannot eat like children anymore. And I see it all the time. Like, I see grown-ups eating fast food all the time. I mean, not even grown-ups, like older people that just eat out all the time. And I know that the food that they're getting, the quality, the nutrients, it's just not there. And then I watch the effects of that, slowly happen over long term. I watched it with my mother, and I watched my mother die from probably not making a lot of healthy choices, that she could have, but she chose not to. She loved the way that she lived as far as the food that she ate. She didn't exercise a lot, and I think these are the things that we have to keep in mind for if you care about your quality of life. And this, like, if you feel good, like, this ain't even for you. Just keep doing you. Like, if you feel great, it's different strokes for different folks. If you're not taking medication and if you wake up every day and you feel great, man, keep doing you. And if your grandma smoked cigarettes until she was 99, and you believe you carry that same geniality of luck, then man, knock your socks off. But like what I'm trying to do is for people who are looking for the answer, looking for the solution to, like, I don't feel good and I don't want to live the rest of my life like this. I'm looking for a better quality of life. I'm dealing with illness that I don't necessarily want to have to go down the road of medication to fix. Those are the people who I'm trying to reach with this story, with this option, is people who are looking for help. Because there was a time in my life where I didn't want to hear it. And I get that. But whenever I started to feel bad and I knew something was wrong, that's all I wanted to hear. So everybody's got their day. I had my day where I was like, just got done drinking a half gallon of whiskey and doing a 90-minute show and felt like I was going to die afterwards. But I was like, hey, I survived another one. And the next day I was at the Mayo Clinic, them telling me I had to have open heart surgery. And then just like that, your whole life changes. So, you can sit around and wait for your day and just keep enjoying the things that you allow your mind to tell you that you enjoy, even though you know better, like food choices, stuff like that. Or you can just administer the greatest human superpower that God gave us, which is self-discipline. And you can start choosing the things that are better for you and start saying no to the things that are working against you.
All right, y'all. This is the end of part 1 of the great interview here with SMO right here on Two Beers with the Band podcast. My name's Harkos. I edit everything around here. And I wanted to remind you that if you have not already, make sure that you like, share, follow, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification buzzer on whatever platform you're watching or listening to this on. That way you don't miss out on part 2 of this great interview when it drops just 2 days from now. Depending on when you watch, of course, part 2 may already be out. Either way, we'll see you on the next episode of Two Beers with the Band podcast, part 2 with SMO.